All right, let's get into what's going on with Pete Hegseth. This is fascinating. So yesterday, when we were talking about the attempted takedown of Pete Hegseth and how even Republicans are starting to get in on the takedown action. The rumors continue to fly about the second Signal chat that he had with family members where he talked about very highly secretive sorts of things. And it's interesting because he came out we played a clip from him at the Easter egg roll from the White House lawn. We played a clip of him defending himself and saying that this is essentially a similar witch hunt to what Donald Trump has faced over and over again. And it made sense. What he was saying made sense. He's had proven results when it comes to recruiting, improving lethality, all the stuff that we want him to do. That's been fine. But there is no denial of the actual accusation that is flying around, which I thought was kind of odd yesterday. He's very quick to talk about the leakers and the reason that they got rid of the leakers, but he's not denying what was leaked. That was nowhere in any of the clips I heard from him yesterday. Here's just a little bit of him with Brian Kilmeade. Initially, he is just defensive, and then we'll have a couple clips where he's asked that question directly.
They've come after me from day one, just like they've come after President Trump. I mean, I've gotten a fraction of what President Trump got in that first term. What he's endured is superhuman. It's not hard for me to do this job. I know exactly why I'm here. To bring warfighting and the warfighting ethos back to the Pentagon, to rip out the insidious ideologies and not compromise and not back down. To bring in new press voices into the Pentagon, which we've done, to reestablish standards and accountability, to not tolerate leakers, to 100% operational control of our border, to get rid of trans lunacy in the military. We haven't backed down. See, here's the thing. A lot of people come to Washington and they just play the game. And it's you punch their ticket and get along to go along. And, start doing Meet the Press and going to the Council on Foreign Relations and spending time with all the new cocktail sipping crowd. That's not why I'm here. I'm here because President Trump asked me to bring warfighting back to the Pentagon every single day. Right. That is our focus. And if people don't like it, they can come after me.
So that's great. I mean, all of the things that he talks about doing that are part of his job, all of that, love that. Love it. Just waiting for the part where he says this is not actually true. So Brian tried. He asked about the investigation of the leakers, like why were those people sent away? Here's a little bit more of that.
They have been moved on, and that investigation continues. As a result of that, everything we do here is above board, trying to make sure that we safeguard information. In this point, those folks who were leaking, who have been pushed out of the building, are now attempting to leak and sabotage the president's agenda and what we're doing. And that's unfortunate.
So one more chance. Brian goes after him with one more attempt to explain the whole Signal chat. You know what I mean? What about that? And here's what he said.
I can conclude this. We know some bizarre situation with Michael Waltz happened with the first time the whole thing with the Signal app came out. You believe this came out, they said it was called Team Huddle, because one of the people who work for you, one of the three who no longer are there, leaked this out as a way to get back at you?
That's right, Brian. When you dismiss people who you believe are leaking classified information, and again, the investigation is ongoing and that will take time, and when the evidence produced it will go to DOJ, why would it surprise anybody, Brian, if those very same people keep leaking to the very same reporters whatever information they think they can have to try to sabotage the agenda of the president or the secretary? So once a leaker, always a leaker, often a leaker.
I just wish they had this much, I guess, I wish they did this with the last administration. Can you imagine if they had this much scrutiny on the last administration, like what we would be dealing with? Honestly, there's so much, he's under a microscope that the last administration was not under. That's how I look at all this. And this is so true of the Trump administration, the last one and this one. There's just such a double standard. That's what pisses me off about all this. I understand, You want him to say, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. It's just like, that's all we spend our freaking time doing, is saying, I didn't, just defending ourselves against attack after attack after attack. Just let him do his effing job. You know, I just get so tired of this shit. Just, I'm so tired.
There were people asking, why are you feeding the fires? I'm not going to hide what's going on in this administration and what's going on in the media from you. Like, why would I do that? Why would I not cover things that are happening just so everybody feels good in here? I'm not going to do that. So, because this gets even weirder, I'm building up to where it gets even weirder. But earlier in the day yesterday, Scott Jennings was talking about Trump's, Trump is standing by Pete and the administration is standing by Pete. And he made that point in an earlier afternoon show. This wasn't Abby Phillips' show, but this was earlier yesterday afternoon.
Is to dig in and fight the opposition party on these things. And I just don't get the sense from anybody in the White House that they think Pete Hegseth is doing a bad job. I mean, they believe morale among the soldiers is up since Trump became president.
It is.
They believe recruitment is up, that people are wanting to come back into the military. So they're looking at other metrics, too, by which you would judge, is this person doing a good job? And I think they believe that he is.
Our dogs love the rough greens. And if you don't know what that is, it's this. It is a nutritional supplement made just for dogs and cats. They now have Meow Greens, too, for your cats that offers all the essential vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and digestive enzymes that your dog or cat needs to bring their dry, dead, brown kibble to life like magic. And so you just take a little sprinkle, a little scoop, put it on their food. They love the taste, and it legitimately gives results that you can see. Within 90 days, you're going to notice lots and lots of changes in your dog, whether it's a breath improvement in their breath, their coat, their energy level. All of these things improve because they're getting the nutrition they finally need that just kibble cannot provide. So you can try it for free. You can get a free jumpstart bag. All you do is cover shipping. You can go to roughchicks.com, ruffchicks.com. Use code CHICKS, and then you'll be able to choose whether you're getting it for dogs or cats. Because with the cats, it comes in these little handy dandy single packets. So you know exactly how much to give your cat, because cats are cat size.
They're one size fits all.
Right. And compared to dogs, which are, of course, all kinds of sizes.
Definitely.
So again,
sizes. Yeah.
as Daisy can attest.
Yes.
It's Rough Chicks, ruffchicks.com. And then the code is CHICKS. So that was earlier in the afternoon. But then I think that, and I don't know how many interviews Pete did. Like, I saw the Brian Kilmeade one. I'm assuming he did more than that, because by the time 10 o'clock at night came around last night and Abby's show was on and Scott was part of that panel, he had some very strong advice for Pete.
I have some public relations advice for these folks. If I were Secretary Hegseth, I wouldn't do any more media interviews right now. The best way to prove you can do the job is to do the job. And by the way, with the attacks on the Houthi rebels, the recruitment being up in the military, there are aspects of his job that are going quite well. He needs to focus on that and just get a handle on doing the job. The media piece, leave it aside for the moment. And for the White House, my advice would be, whatever guidance you gave the cabinet and your senior officials about the use of Signal and other encrypted applications, just release it. Whatever memo went out, whatever the lawyers gave everybody after the first Signal thing, just put it out so that everybody can see what directives have been given since the initial tempest in a teapot brewed over.
Right. 150%, because it's like, this is taking time away. And they're doing that on purpose, with purpose, right? They're trying to keep him from doing his job. They're trying to distract him. They're trying to get rid of him. That's their whole goal here, is to just drive him crazy and drive him out. That's what they're doing. So just stop it. Why are we entertaining this? Why is the administration entertaining this at all? He is so right, 150%. Just do your job. Just do your job, because you're doing it well. I know he's capable. We all know he's capable of doing it well. So do it. Just do it, because the numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody can argue with like the recruiting results and the things that are on Pete's to-do list.
Right.
Like I am on board. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but here's where the mystery came. Now, I'm just going to put out there, something's going on with a whole bunch of people on the right that are that I used to respect who are saying things that are entirely questionable lately, Candace Owens being among them, Tucker being another. And we'll get into reasons why in a later segment. But Tucker had on one of the leakers, or actually he may have had two of them on, but I have clips from one of them being on. And what's super interesting about this clip is that this leaker guy says that he wasn't really investigated. Like no one took his devices to show, oh, look, here you are leaking things to a reporter. He still has his devices. No one gave him a lie detector test. Like no one has actually done anything to prove that he leaked anything, but he is very anti getting into another conflict with Iran. And apparently that is where
he meaning Tucker?
No, the leaker.
Oh, the leaker guy. Okay. All right.
And he and the other leakers, he said, are part of this crew of people who are pushing back against many in the deep state who are still in DOD, who really want us to get involved in another freaking conflict.
Right.
And so it's very, very interesting, a whole new spin on things. And I don't know where Pete fits into that equation, but it is kind of troubling. His name is Dan Caldwell, and you'll hear him on Tucker.
So here are a couple. Have you been polygraphed?
No, I've never been hooked up to a polygraph machine since I've been in the Department of Defense.
Okay. Have you given up your private communications devices, your private phone, your phone?
No.
To anybody?
No.
Okay. So that raises the obvious question. I'm trying not to use the F word here because the lying is just driving me insane. You're being accused of leaking classified information, but the people accusing you would have no way of knowing whether you did that or not because they haven't polygraphed you or taken your devices, your private devices, correct?
I mean, there are...
You can't even make the allegation because there's no conceivable way you can prove that. Let me just say there's...
So,
but just back to your story, and I won't linger on it. Every time I mention this, your jaw tightens. I can feel your frustration. And I should just say point blank.
Frustrated you.
Well, I'm completely convinced that this is nonsense and sinister nonsense. But if you were the subject of an investigation, a leak investigation, if the investigators had determined that you were leaking classified information to the news media, you probably wouldn't have continued to receive access to classified information, correct?
Correct, and I probably wouldn't be sitting here today.
You'd be in jail, dude. You would have been handcuffed, correct?
If I had leaked, well, again, I just want to be clear here. I still don't know if the term they used is, and that you see the DOD using, is unauthorized release of information. If I think there's a lot of rumors and people are exploiting this that we can talk about. If I actually did some of the things that anonymous people on the internet and in the Pentagon are saying I did, I'd be in handcuffs.
So that's his denial of, doing the things.
Of leaking.
Yes. So take that how you will. I don't know anything about this guy. I know as much as you guys. But the next part is the part that is like, wait, what? What is happening at DOD when Susan Rice is still involved? Like, what is even happening?
Why is she there? Yeah.
Everyone knows where that's coming from. It's from the career staff who don't look like what the president and the secretary and vice president want to do. There's people on the joint staff that I come to respect, but a lot of them are incredibly hostile to the secretary, to the president, and the vice president's worldview. It's pretty obvious that that's where most of the leaks are coming from. There's a less obvious place. I just want to point something out. As we sit here today, Tucker, and this could change by the time this is aired, but as we sit here today, Susan Rice, Michelle Flournoy, Eric Edelman are still in good standing with the Department of Defense.
Oh my God.
That is correct. They are still...
Susan Rice? Like
Susan
the Obama
Rice,
Susan Rice?
Yes. Susan Rice is still on the Defense Policy Board.
Right now?
As we sit here today, by the time this is released, that might change. But as we sit here today, she is still on the Defense Policy Board. Now, that doesn't mean she can go in the building and get access to whatever she wants. But it means that she works with DOD employees. She can interact with them and has the credential and the affiliation with the Department of Defense.
And here's proof. Somebody listened to that and said, and went to the website, and this was yesterday. So I don't know what it looks like today, but this was yesterday. It lists the Defense Policy Board, and
She's there.
What the
She's-
F, you guys?
Yeah, she's on the board. Yeah. I mean, but how do you not know that? How does he not know that? How does
That's
Pete?
my point, is what if Pete, what if there is some sort of bipartisan push to actually engage in more conflict, even though the vast majority of Americans do not want more entanglements? What if there really is a push for that? And this guy, like he suggests, is one of the guys that does not want the conflict, and he's getting pushed out because of it. I don't know. I'm just saying this is all super sketchy.
Because listen, why the F is she there? Why is she there?
Point.
She should have been gone a long time ago. Literally, when he got into office and when Pete was confirmed. Bye, Susan. Bye.
I don't like it. I don't like any of it.
I hate this. Everybody should hate this. What in the hell?